because, feelings probably mutual. You know what I mean? A lot of the people in here are very ugly, is what I'm trying to say. Damn, I am a grown-ass man. Hey, everybody, welcome to the MURCA Guns and Freedom podcast. As always, not really a podcast because I don't put it anywhere. And as always, it is just an open conversation. You can ask whatever questions you want to ask, suggest whatever topics you want to suggest. Remember, I'm not the only one that could possibly answer them. You can talk directly to me, but remember there's, 100 and something people over here in the live chat that can answer your questions for you also. So, pay attention to the live chat and feel free to talk amongst yourselves all you want. But if you want to ask me a question, that's why I'm here. Doesn't have to be about guns. We cover all kinds of topics, cars, comics, cryptids, wrestling, all kinds of manly man stuff I'm interested in. So go ahead, ask your questions. Can be religion, politics, whatever. There's no taboo subjects here. So go ahead and ask. It's not like the chat where I've got other people where I've kind of protected them from certain questions. You can ask me whatever. I got no reason to lie to you or worry about what you think. So go ahead and ask away. You can also challenge me on stuff if you disagree with me. Like if you think that I was wrong about something, feel free to let me know. You can come in, spank the yank, and educate me. I like to start off every one of these chats by reading the names of people who have bought merchandise, because that does go support TYMP generally, but it also can support pets and vets if you buy certain items. So I want to thank Cindy L. Thomas, that's Clinton, Seattle. Tanya Conway, that's another woman. That's two women. That's weird. I'm really confused now. Two women. Women don't usually watch my channel. Lee Pennington also placed an order. Those were actually ordered yesterday, but I forgot to read them yesterday. Today we got Mark Zimmer, Eduardo Gonzalez, Dylan Kirkpatrick, and then we got Johnny Mandrick. Got him a couple of the mugs and became a member of the K9. I think he was already a member of the K9 unit, but you can now enlist in the K9 unit by going over to my newest merch section on my webpage, and there's 3 different designs of shirts, and you can also go to the mugs section. There's 3 over there also. You can choose corporal, sergeant, or captain, and you're automatically a member of the TYMP K9 unit. You don't got to be a member of Patreon or nothing for any kind of commitment. All right, so thanks to those people for ordering. It's greatly appreciated. And remember, right now, if you go over to my website, tympistolproject.com. You can do things like become a Subscribe Star member. You can become a Patreon member. You can get patches, pins, all kinds of stuff over there by being members. You can use the link to go over and buy merchandise like my We Are the Knights Who Say Pew, Pew, Pew. Mine's getting very faded because I wear this one a lot. We Are the Knights Who Say Pew, Pew, Pew. If you're a Monty Python fan, I got a couple Monty Python designs over there. So go on over there, get yourself some merch, help out TYMP or the Pets and Vets program, depending on what you get. Because if you go to the new merch section and you buy anything with a mammal on the front of it, if it's got titties, that goes, or I should say nipples. I try to say nipples every time and I forget. If it's got nipples, then it goes to benefit Pets and Vets. Like snakes don't have nipples, so that one wouldn't, but bears do. So I think you get it. So go over there, buy some merch. You can also sign up over there to be a member of or to be a recipient of TYMP, where we provide 4 families every month the means to defend themselves and their homes when they otherwise wouldn't be able to do so, because the Second Amendment is not just for those that can afford it. With that being said, let's get to the questions. I had the page up. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Today is the 27th. Is that right? So we got Dale Rickety chiming in here. And he said, I seem to be out of words. I got nothing. Well, at your age, you probably used them all up. I can't imagine anything you haven't already said. Is there anything you could say that you've not said before? Like if you said watermelon, lesbians, popsicle, and would that be like, I've said that in that order before at your age? Likelihood, yeah. Those are orders from Johnny Mandrick. And then we got Officer Tater Hater chiming in. And he said, sent emails. Brian from Here's the Deal said we shouldn't date, much less breed with women who back the blue. I totally agree. I don't have his email, so I will have to invite him over while on his channel. Yeah, you can invite him over. I don't think that's a problem for a lot of you, is it? That you're going to be breeding with women who back the blue? I don't think that's a big problem with most people in my chats. The ones that come here to my chats, the gun nerds, I don't think having to breed with women is a problem for most of them. I think they very rarely get the opportunity. They don't have to worry about, I don't want to breed with those women because, feelings probably mutual. You know what I mean? A lot of the people in here are very ugly, is what I'm trying to say. Probably just get right to it. The Blind Edge, I don't know who that is, said, most common failure, leaving your firearm at home. That is a failure. That's not the gun's fault, though. That's most common failure of firearms owners. Salvatore Verga, who's here tonight, because he sent me a message saying he would be here tonight. So I guess maybe he quit his job so he can do the important stuff, like stay here and watch this. Because usually he's got to be up very early. He just said for TYMP, he didn't say anything. Michael Dial, Mikey D, as we know him. Because of Paul needs a hand, thanks for skipping over my chat in the first section. Oh, well, guess I'll get another entry now anyhow. Wait, did I skip his over here? I thought I got his. Oh, he said most common failure is user error. How did I miss that? It's right there. See, most common failure is user error or mag related. Yeah, mag related is more the thing of the gun, but I don't know how I missed it. I guess I get busy. Let's see here. Well, there. Now you got featured just then, all by yourself. You feel special now? Kenny Donaldson said, are Johnny Glock triggers any good? What's your opinion, Yankee? I don't know what Johnny Glock is. I've never bought a Johnny Glock trigger. Anybody in here got experience with Johnny Glocks? The only Johnny I know is Johnny Buttplug. And I wouldn't take any triggers from him. I mean, he triggered a lot of people, I bet, but he doesn't trigger me. I'm used to ugly, effeminate men. All right, let's see. Where were we at here in the questions? But yeah, I've never Johnny Glock triggers. I'm gonna have to look it up because hold on. I'm actually looking that up. Johnny Custom Glocks trigger shoes. I guess he sells trigger shoes. Does he sell bars and everything too? Timony Glock Vex trigger shoe. I like the looks of the triggers. They look nicer than the regular triggers. That's about all we found of Gary. Remember when he disappeared? That's about all was left of him was a chewed up trigger. One of the plastic parts got left behind. Where was he at? And then we got Christopher Jones chiming in and saying, do you like any of the newer Star Trek shows? I think you'd like Strange New Worlds. I like Strange New Worlds. I haven't watched the newest season. I have just not gotten good. I'm bad about watching TV shows. I spend most of my time doing research online or reading stuff, or even when I'm in the house watching TV, it's usually just something mindless on the TV, like fail videos or scare videos or a wrestling podcast or car video. Although I was really disappointed in one of my car video people I watch. I was watching the Straight Pipes. I don't know if y'all watch them, but there's these two guys, Jacob and Yuri. Yuri's a little swarthy looking guy, and Jacob's kind of like a big bulb headed guy. And I like that combination because every time I watch one of their reviews, Jacob kind of tells me what I'm going to think of a car. I have the same sensibilities as he does. And Yuri kind of tells me what my mother would think of a car, because he's kind of got the sensibilities of an old white woman. So it's nice to have that balance. But yesterday they were talking about, they were driving an EV, and they have a sponsor that is, does fluids, oils, transmission fluids, etc. for cars. And they said, well, you don't need oil in an EV, but you still need transmission fluid and brake fluid. And I'm like, no, you don't. There's no transmission in that. You shouldn't need transmission fluid in that car. So I'm like, you should know that. And I'm sure they just spoke without thinking, but I was like, I'm disappointed. You didn't catch yourself and fix that before you put it out. You'll see me catch myself with stuff all the time, where my mouth not matching the word I'm saying because I dubbed in the word later because I said the wrong thing when I was talking. I did that last in the video I put out today, because for some reason I called 460 Roland the first couple of times I mentioned it, but then like the third time I mentioned it, I called it 460 Limbaugh. I don't know why, but I did, so I had to dub it. Where was I? But yes, I like most of the Star Trek shows. That was the start of that question. I just kind of got off. But yeah, I haven't watched one yet I didn't like. Even the ones that aren't great are still Star Trek. How much are you going to complain? Did you see that High Point has made an AR-15? I did not see that High Point made an AR-15. How are they going to make barrels? They have to use steel. That's going to be a lot of steel in it, because usually the only steel is their barrels and a little revolver. It's mostly zinc, the metal, so it's going to be a lot of steel in that gun and polymer. A lot of polymer. Hope they aren't making the receiver out of zinc. I hope they're using aluminum. But I don't know, maybe. I have to check it out. Over here, Sparks68 said all Tupperware and striker fire guns fail. Well, yeah, every gun can fail, but striker fire guns are more likely to fail. I will say that. Let me see. Did I get any emails today I need to share? I got one here. And of course, he put it up or set it up wrong, but I'll share it anyway. Share screen. It's in the wrong orientation. Winder. There we go. This is from Jay Lugo, Heavy J. Got my corporal shirt today and my new 642 with aftermarket grips. P.S. I tried taking a photo in landscape, and this is how it comes out. It's because of the way you're holding your phone. You got to readjust the picture. You can go into when you go into your album, you can hit edit that picture and then flip it back the way you want it. But there we go. He's got his K9 unit corporal. He got the green. I think I like that. It looks good on green, but I think I like that one on the black. The green and the black kind of look greenish, I think. If I was going to get one and wear it, I'd probably get the corporal one, and I would get a black shirt with the green corporal on the front. Even though I'm not a Marine, I've never eaten a crayon in my life. I've never eaten one. I've done inappropriate things with them probably, but never eaten one. I was a curious little boy, like most people were. But yeah. All right. I think that I don't see any other emails coming in, so we don't got a lot to share there today. What's this? Oh, Gummy Wuzzle did send an email with some of his inherited guns he's showing here. Gummy Wuzzle. Image file. No, share screen. Winder. It's so hard for me to do these for some reason. I don't know. I figured, thank you for allowing me to participate in the no FUD zone. Almost felt like I belong. Continuing my inherited gun thing. Here's my Colt Junior and Marlin 336. I like those little Colt Juniors. That is cute as can be. How much cuter could you be than that? Oh, that's awesome. And then there's the rifle. It never hurt to have a good lever action around. You can got a little holster for that. You need to get a little wallet holster for that. Carry it in the back pocket like a wallet. That would just disappear. Sparks68 says, what is the best home defense round for 4.58 SOCOM? How you're defending your house against a 4.58 SOCOM? How do you defend against that? I don't know. Heavy steel plating? I don't know how you defend your house against that. I would at least cover all my doors and windows with, wood or something. But yeah, I don't know how you defend against a 4.58 SOCOM. Okay, I think that gets us all caught up, and I can go to the regular questions over here. Thinking about adding a 10 millimeter to my collection. Thoughts on 10 millimeter? It's my favorite semi-automatic cartridge. I think if someone's going to carry a semi-auto, it ought to be 10 millimeter if they want to be as prepared as they can be, because I like 10 millimeter. So there's real easy to answer that question. Andrew P says, you sound Marxist. How do I sound Marxist? West Virginia used to be progressive. Well, a lot of places are more progressive than they used to be. Hell, look at Iran. Back in the 60s, Iran was pretty much like America. And then the religious influence took over, fucked them up. Same thing would happen here if the religion took over the government. You'd have women told what clothes they can wear and what jobs they could have, and people would get, arrested and beaten because they didn't follow the right rules of religion. Child care has become so unaffordable due to ridiculous regulations regarding child to staff ratios and degree requirements. That's not true. My mom has worked in child care quite a bit. She used to be a geriatrics nurse and a pediatric nurse. And most child care places don't have a whole lot of employees, to be honest. And the regulations aren't that hard. And they're definitely not anything that you would want to not be. I mean, I don't want a place where it's got 30 kids and one adult. I think there should be a few adults if you're going to have that many kids, especially for what they're charging. But the main cost of childcare is the companies that own the childcare services. They're one of the most massively profitable industries you could ever think of. As far as profit to expenditure, they're astronomically out of whack. So that's why childcare is so expensive, because people know that people don't have a choice and they can charge what they want. Play for honor. I don't know what that means. Outdoors. Let's see. Where's it? What are your thoughts on the Lago Alien? I think it's very cool. I'd like to have one. There's never any way I would spend, $6 grand for that gun? Something like that range. There's no way in hell I'd ever spend anywhere close to that money for that. And it's not, they act like that's the first gun that's ever used that mechanism. There's guns that have used that mechanism before. There's old 22s and stuff that have used that mechanism. So it's not all that remarkable. It's cool, but it ain't $6,000 cool. It's one of those companies that says, hey, we're going to put all this money into research and development of a gun. We're going to make a few of them and try to sell each gun for enough money to get back all of our research and development on just a few small sales, because we don't want to risk not being popular and failing. And I think they shot themselves in the foot with that, because I don't see the gun ever being popular. I don't think it ever sell enough to even get back their research and development. Abominable Snowman's here, so I was wrong. He's not in prison. Any thoughts on Trump's first 100 days? I think he will have his third term now. Thoughts on the parallel to other authoritarian government takeovers in history? Well, most of those authoritarian takeovers didn't have a lot of the same safeguards we have, and they definitely didn't have the means for the people to know what's going on at all times, which is why social media and platforms like that are so hell-bent on being able to say whatever they want and not be liable, because they have to try to convince people. Because now it used to be just, you didn't have to convince most people of anything, because most people didn't know what was going on. Now people are watching every little move, so you got to be able to brainwash them into thinking it's the right thing to do. Usually they use fear and prejudice. Like, they got so many people on the right now saying, you don't got to give due process to people who aren't citizens. I'm like, well, but how do you know these people aren't citizens unless you give them due process? Oh, you don't have to give due process to people who come here illegally even and then join a gang. Well, how do you know they're in a gang if you don't have due process? Are you just taking the government's word for it? And when you convince people to do stuff like that, that's how a government falls. Oh, we don't have to have any oversight. We'll get rid of that. Just bullshit. But as far as his first 100 days, has he done anything successfully? Has he done any major moves that are either controversial or wonderful? Or I mean, the deportations is the one thing they seem to be focused on. Gas prices ain't came down. I was just looking at that yesterday. The gas prices on average. Egg prices have come down, but now they're starting to go back up again because of more flu outbreaks. But that wasn't nothing he did either. That was because the flu thing ran its course after they killed all the birds. They started getting new birds and stuff. I don't really know of much of anything after the first 100 days. I mean, maybe there's a lot of irons in the fire that will produce something later, but in the first 100 days, I don't see how people make a big judgment after 100 days. I mean, it's okay to say, hey, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. You said you're going to do it when you're going to do it. But I don't think it's really reasonable to expect a lot of results in the first 100 days. I think you want to see those irons put in the fire, but you're not going to see the finished product in the first 100 days. So I don't really make a big judgment just because of some arbitrary time limit. But I do know that, midterms are probably not going to be friendly. And if they're going to do the stuff they promised for like the gun community, et cetera, they need to get on it now. Because, you don't want to be waiting to where things are going to be switching over. Went to the reptile show today. They had poison dart frogs. I hope you didn't eat one of them. You shouldn't do that. Failure. Revolver will not cycle when pulling the trigger, like Hickok says. Oh my God, that video. He should take that down because that was embarrassing. It was so easy for me to show exactly what he was doing. And he was either, and a lot of people don't get the point I was making, that he's either doesn't know how to shoot a revolver or he was deliberately dishonest. Because anybody who knows how to shoot a revolver saw what he was doing and was like, you're making that gun fail. So, and remember, he's paid by Buds, and Buds is heavily invested in the secondary market for Colt revolvers. He had a huge collection that was just getting more and more valuable. And then they started releasing the revolvers again. And then it's funny how most of the people he sponsored started slamming the new guns. Even faking failures. What kind of psychiatric disorder does Bill the Cat from Bloom County have? None that I'm aware of. I don't know if Bill having any issues. Maybe if I saw his meds list, I'd know. I could be able to discern some things. But I don't really notice anything wrong with him. Seems like a cat to me. He doesn't really interact with a lot of people. Maybe he's autistic, but even then, I wouldn't be able to just say that. Some people are just not that responsive to others. Some people are just quiet, don't like to interact. I mean, he's homely, but that doesn't make him, have any disabilities or anything just because he's homely. I mean, look at most of the people in here. Believe it or not, a lot of these people have no disability whatsoever. That's just how they look. So, yeah, I don't think he has anything wrong with him that I know of. I find it amusing when I get banned from a Reddit community that I was trying to block from my feed anyway. Can you get banned from Reddit? I've never used Reddit. So I've sometimes seen some of I try sometimes, I'll type something in as a search window and usually a car or a new car model. And I'll see a Reddit thread and I'll go try to read it. I can't make heads or tails of anything on Reddit. I don't know how you follow it. It's just too much bullshit. It's all static. So I'm just Reddit is not for me. You are corrupting the Second Amendment. It does not say everyone needs to be provided with a gun. Who said it does? But nothing in the law says every child, should be fed. But I'd like to see every child fed. If their parents can't do it, I'll do it. if I have the opportunity. So I don't understand your point. There's nothing. So you're saying that if someone wanted to feed a hungry child because their parents didn't, that's Marxist? Well, sign me up for that then, because and plus Marxist is not communist, just so people know. Big difference between Marxism and communist governance. Went to a rep. I read that already. It's better to back the poo than back the blue. I don't want your poo getting backed up, though. I don't want anybody backing up my poo. Not manually, at least. And I don't want it to happen anyway. Constipation is not fun. But yeah, no, I don't want anybody backing up my poo. That sounds painful. Let me make sure I'm caught up on all the questions over here because we ain't got a whole lot of time left. I'm caught up everything there. We got one more thing coming in from Nominal Snowman here. He says, so any stock put into RFK tracking autists or ICE getting to ignore the Fourth Amendment and needing no warrant. Well, yeah, I don't like that. That's why I said you got people saying we don't need due process. No, I don't approve of that at all. Anytime they're not giving any person due process, you don't get to say, well, it's because of this, or it's because they're this, or they're that, or whatever. Because eventually all they got to do is say, well, you're that too, and then don't not give you any due process. Next thing you know, you're sitting in prison for 5 years because they didn't like something you said. And you don't get to bitch because you were like, I was fine with them suspending due process for other people. So, and as far as RFK, I have come to the conclusion that dude is fucking retarded. I mean, at first I would see some of his I guess, mission statement and some of his points, and I'd be like, well, I agree with that one and that one and that one. But then I listen to him talk about these things, and then I hear him say other things about stuff, especially mental health issues, and I'm like, that dude's fucking retarded. He shouldn't be in charge of anything. He should be getting treatment, not be in charge of anything. Because he is fucking retarded. He's probably one of the dumbest people I've ever seen in public office. His lack of understanding of the things he talks about is astronomical. When he says things like, oh, there's so many autistic people because of the blah, blah, blah. No, there's so many autism diagnoses now is because they've taken 1,000 different things that used to be different diagnoses or diagnosed as we don't know, and now they've shoved them all under the autism spectrum. That's like saying cancer never existed in the 60s. You didn't hear anything about it in the 60s. Well, you didn't hear about a lot about it because they didn't talk much about it. And there wasn't much they could do about it. It's like saying, oh, diabetes didn't exist in the 20s. Well, no, yeah, they didn't diagnose a lot of people with diabetes. But you know what? A lot of people died really young, and they died from diabetes. Just didn't get it diagnosed. It was still there. If you were fat, etc. So, and type 1 diabetes, there ain't really been much of an increase in people dying from type 1 diabetes. Even if you look back into like the 30s and stuff till now, it existed. Just because it wasn't diagnosed and they died when they were 18 doesn't mean it didn't exist. You are a fucking retard. I'm sick of him, that guy. And another thing I'm disappointed in is Linda McMahon and being in charge of the education department. She has not stunned or suplexed one person yet. I haven't heard one thing about a reporter getting suplexed or stone cold stunnered or figure four'd even. So I'm very disappointed about that as well. Where was I? Let me make sure we're all caught up because we are out of time. Yes, we are all caught up. So I want to say thanks to everybody for showing up today that came in, participated in the conversation, kept things rolling. I want to thank people who helped donate to the Pets and Vets Fund, the TYMP, to buy merchandise, etc. Do super chats, keeps the channel rolling. We don't got a lot keeping the channel rolling right now. So that's my fault, though. I don't know how to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to do a video talking about how I'm being punished for not keeping my mouth shut, which is a perfect example of not knowing how to keep your mouth shut. But it's a warning to other channels, I guess. Hopefully other people will learn from my mistakes. But thanks, everyone, for everything you do. I appreciate it. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Until then, remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.